morning, Iain from RTO here. Hope everyone is well. It's Thursday, which means it's then and now day. And today's band in the spotlight is Aerosmith. Formed in 1970 by Joe Perry and Tom Hamilton, who were in a band together called Jam. Then they met up with Steven Tyler and Joey Kramer and a guitarist called Ray Tabano, and they formed Aerosmith in 1971. But shortly after that, Tabano was replaced by Brad Whitford, and then we had the classic lineup of Aerosmith. So they released their first ever album on the 5th of January 1973 on Columbia Records, and it was produced by a gentleman called Adrian Barber, and they say that they were influenced by Rolling Stones, Beatles, Led Zeppelin, Yardbirds and Peter Green's Fleetwood Mac. So some pretty good bands there. So let's have a look at these tracks off their debut album, Aerosmith. First track, Make It. Really good rock song this is. For your first song on an album. Steven Tyler just doesn't sound like Steven Tyler today, obviously. This is a very clean cut in sound in Steve Tyler. Terrific song. Really do like that one. Somebody, another stonking opening riff from Brad and Joe. That sound sort of creeps in already. Then we get Dream On, probably one of the greatest songs they ever wrote, and it's a classic. It's one of my favourites today. Always have loved this. But Tyler's vocals in this are superb, and you get some great guitar work from Joe Perry. Then we get One Way Street, really good rocker this is. It's very basic, but it still rocks. The band were really pumping it out on this one, and you could tell what was going to happen. You knew where they were going. There's very signs that they wanted to be quite heavy in places, so great track. Then we get another classic, Mama Kin, staple of the live set even today. That distinctive Aerosmith sound was coming in. Really good track. Right to left, great drums from Joey Kramer on this. Really holds this song together. Him and Tom, a good backroom machine, as I call it. Really solid, tight, great solid rock song. Moving Out. This is more bluesy. It shows Joe Perry's guitar work fantastically. Being so basic that his guitar solo is more prominent in this. Then we get the last track, only a short album, Walkin the Dog. Another great rocker. The work between Perry and Whitford is fantastic. Works so well together. Terrific song. Great debut album. I like it. Listen to it a lot. But the album was not a success when it came out. It came out at the same time as Bruce Springsteen released his debut album. And Columbia Records put more effort into his album than Springsteen's. I mean, Springsteen's album than Aerosmith's. And the other thing they did, they compared them to unfavourably to the Rolling Stones and the New York Dolls. I mean, to me, New York Dolls are more punky. Okay, Rolling Stones, because you know they're influenced by the Rolling Stones, and you can tell. But as time went on, a lot of people did look at it in a different light, which was good. All Music, Stephen Irwin described Aerosmith as a truly American band, sounding like the best bar in your local town, cranking up hard, nasty rock edges. He considers Dream On to be the blueprint of all power ballads, and I quite agree with him. It was the first real power ballad you ever heard. Brilliant stuff. And also Martin Popoff, Canadian journalist, terrific guy. He makes a lot of sense. He described the album as a raw, dirty and steeped with squalid integrity, but observed that every successive release sounds light years ahead in terms of production, songcraft, maturity. Quite agree with Mr. Popoff there. And then, just to top it off, Izzy Stradlin from Guns N' Roses. This is quote, and I'm not going to say exactly what he says because being from Guns N' Roses, it's full of colourful metaphors. So I'll clean it up. Growing up in Indiana, Aerosmith man, smoking a what's it, listening to the first record, and Aerosmith was considered a big influence on the Guns N' Roses sound, and I get that because it does in places. So let's take a critical look at this debut album. Song quality. Some really good songs on. You've got 2 or 3 classics to this day on there. So I give song quality 5 out of 5 because I love all the songs on here. Production. It's very basic, very raw. It's not bad. I just wonder when you listen to the live versions of it, like Mama King now, it's terrific. But I'll give it a 3 out of 5. Reception. I'm going to give it 3 out of 5. And I do feel sorry for them that the record company, in their wisdom, decided to promote Bruce Springsteen's more than this. When you put Springsteen's debut and Aerosmith's debut, they're pretty different, and I love both albums, but I think this Aerosmith album just gets it for me. So it gives an RTO ranking of 11 out of 15, which is a good score. So let's move the time machine on 39 years to 2012. They released their 15th studio album. Came out on November the 6th. Music from Another Dimension. It's their first studio album since 2004, but it's the first one in over 12 years of original music. It's an album that's quite long, 68 minutes, and it was the last album that they actually recorded for Sony Columbia. Produced by Jack Douglas, Steven Tyler and Joe Perry. I need a swig of my coffee. Yeah, and it is the longest studio album they ever made, up to date. So let's have a look at these tracks. Opens up with a track called Luv XXX. Sorry. It's okay. That's all I'll say about it. It's okay. Then we get Oh Yeah. Oh, this actually does sound like a proper Aerosmith track. Goes back to them 70s days. Really, really good song. Got some nice guitar work from Perry, and Steven Tyler's vocal on this is great. But we can't say the same for the next track, Beautiful. Oh, this is weak. And I feel that the band have started to lose their way. They're losing their identity. They don't know if they want to be a rock band or a commercial pop band. You know, the money is where all the ballads and all that are, but they're a rock and roll band at heart. Then we get Tell Me. It's okay. It's a rocky 90s style Aerosmith track. Not too bad. I can go with that. Out Go the Lights. Another solid track. Proper rock and roll Aerosmith style. Terrific. Then we get Legendary Child, which was quite a big hit from this album. It's too commercial for me. I'm just not keen on this commercial sounding Aerosmith, I'm afraid. I know a lot of people are, and I get it, but I'm a true rock and roller at heart, and that's not rock and roll. It's too smooth. I like tracks that are a bit raw and the nuts and bolts are falling off. But I'll give one thing about this: it's got a great riff, and that's all it is. I mean, the drums are all too smooth. Ooh. Then we get What Could Love Have Been? Hang on. What could have been love? I just don't like this. I'm sorry. I really am. I don't like slagging off songs or slagging off bands, but that is just, as I say, it's just not Iain's cup of tea. Street Jesus. Great track. This hankers back to the days of the old. Great riffs, great singing from Steven Tyler, solid bass from Tom, great drumming from Joey. What I'd say, proper Aerosmith. Then we get Can't Stop Loving You featuring Carrie Underwood. I hate this song full stop, and I'm not going to talk about it because I hate it. I just hate that predictable ballady dribble that they think everyone wants to listen to. I know there's a lot of you do, but there's a lot of die-hard fans out there that will say differently. Then we get Lover Alot. I don't mind this track. It's not too bad. It's quite listenable. We All Fall Down. Oh dear. Oh dear, oh dear, oh dear. More dirge. Freedom Fighter. It's not too bad. I can go with that one. Closer. It's reasonable. I do like the solo from Joe Perry though. Very good solo. Something. What an awful noise. They're all over the place. And to be quite honest, I get the vibe that no one can be bothered with it. And they've totally lost the plot. They couldn't care less. I think they just went in the studio. Oh, I suppose we better put another track on the album. Why do we need 68 minutes worth of music on one album? I don't know, because to me that's a double album. I just don't like that. The last track, Another Last Goodbye, though, is not too bad. It's a bit commercial, but it's listenable, and I can go with that. It's got a nice melody, and I don't mind it. The critics, I had a mixed bag. This did. It only sold 63,000 copies in its first week, but it debuted it at number 5 on the American Billboard chart. There was mixed reviews, and the online reviewing site Metriatric, which are pretty good, they calculated on an aggregate score of 54 out of 100 based on 22 reviews. So it didn't get much. It's a little bit wishy-washy. So let's have a look at what I think. Song quality. Some songs are alright and some are terrible. I just don't like that wishy-washy love stuff. I am a romantic at heart, but there's romantic and pass me the bucket. So he gets a 3 out of 5. Production. The production's pretty good. I can't deny that. But some of the songs are just too smooth. I don't like clean cutting rock and roll. Rock and roll to me is plug your guitars in and go. So I'm going to give it 3 out of 5. Reception. I just don't. I didn't like it, and the critics was a bit of a mixed bag. So it gets 3 out of 5 again. So that gives it an RTO ranking of 9 out of 10. So in this case, on all them marks, the first album wins by two points, because it's a far better album, far better songs. Although the production's a lot weaker, I think it's a far solid album than Music from Another Dimension. So this is quite a difference, and I must admit personally, and I know a lot of you, everyone's allowed their opinion, and I get that, but personally I just don't like the later albums. They're just too commercial and too ballady, and I like rock and roll. So but the classic albums, from them in them 70s are the best ones. Like Get Your Wings, it's got some terrific stuff on there. And then come Toys in the Attic. Now, back in 1980, I brought a compilation album called, we've looked at it on here, called Axe Attack. And one of the tracks on there is Sweet Emotion. And I love that vocoder, and I loved it, and one of my favourite tracks. So I decided to go and buy some more Aerosmith. So I brought the Greatest Hits, which is the one with the red cover with the wings on it, and I loved it. And I thought, okay, we'll start getting some more of their albums. And the first one I got, because I was told Toys in the Attic is pretty good. And it is a good album. I mean, it's got Toys in the Attic, Uncle Sultry, Adam's Apple, Walk This Way, big 10-inch record, Sweet Emotion, No More, Round and Round and See You Crying. Really good, solid album. Then in '76 they released Rocks, another good album. Draw the Line, 1977. And then probably my favourite album by Aerosmith, Night in the Ruts. Terrific album. Then you came in 1982, you'd got Joe Perry left and Brad Whitford left, so they brought in Jimmy Crespo and Rick Duffy. It's not a bad album, Rockin' a Hard Place. If I was to rank these albums, this would come pretty low. I like Lightning Strikes. It's amazing that that album actually come out. I mean, by this time Tyler had sniffed half a Cuba up his nose. Don't know if you know if it was Monday, Tuesday, or 1982 or 1582. But then in 1985, everyone made up, and got back together and done with Mirrors. Wasn't a bad album. And then came 1987 Permanent Vacation. I brought this when it come out. I like Hearts Done Time. Magic Tufts is pretty good. Ragdoll, another good track. Samurai, and then Dude Looks Like a Lady. I just remember this from Mrs. Doubtfire, as Robin Williams is doing his housework and grooving to Dude Looks Like a Lady. Pretty cool. St. John, that's a good rocker. Hangman Jewelry, pretty good as well. Keeps Coming Apart, love that track. And then we get the first of them power commercial ballads. Angel, yuck. Permanent Vacation's pretty good, and then they do a stonking version of Beatles on Down, and then you get the movie, which is instrumental, pretty good. Then came Pump in 1989. It's got one or two good tracks on here. Young Lust is good. Fine's good. Lovin in Elevators, not too bad. Monkey on My Back. Janie's Got a Gun. I love that song. The Other Side, starting to go downhill. My Girl, it's alright. Don't Get Mad, Get Even, it's pretty ordinary. Hoodoo Voodoo, Medicine Man, no good. And then we get the awful What It Takes. Just don't like that. Then it starts getting even worse. Get a Grip comes out in 1993. Eat the Rich is alright. Get a Grip's not too bad. And then it just goes downhill from there. 9 Lives, 1997. I haven't played that for years. Just push play. Again, I just haven't played that for a long time. Honking on the Bobo I don't mind because it's like covers of blues songs and I love the blues. And then you get music from another dimension. Unfortunately, I'm more old school Aerosmith. I just don't like. I mean, they made a lot of money going this commercial way, and fair play to the band. But I hope if they release a new album, they'll be on a different label, and I hope they'll sit down and actually write some rock and roll and ditch all this ballad stuff. I don't mind the odd ballad on an album, but I don't like an album that's just full of ballads. So that's Aerosmith. Might do a full ranking one day on a Wednesday because they've got enough albums to come into the Marathon Wednesday. That's the first of a couple of shows today. Next show we got for today is album artwork, and it's part 3 of Roger Dean. We're going to be looking at his contribution to Uriah Heep, and there's a little bonus. I found some of his other artwork that needs to get an honourable mention because some of it's pretty cool. And then tonight we're not having a live stream after last week's debacle of it keep breaking down, and with things going on like the Olympics and all that sort of thing. We're going to take a little break from live streaming. We'll bring it back in the winter when not much is going on and we need something to keep us going through them cold nights. And we're going to have it at a different time as well. We're going to go for 8 o'clock, so get the kids into bed and sorted, and we can have a good old chinwag on, and hopefully by then I might have some more equipment and we can make it a little bit more interactive. But instead of on Thursdays I'll give you a little update, and in that I'll go through like what's been going on and talk about the bands that have contacted me for a ranking, and I will tell you what's going on the week after. And in the description I'll always put what's going on in the description. It will also be posted on Facebook and Twitter. So that's me for now. I've got 2 dogs that are gagging to go for a walk, so I'm going to go and take them for a walk. So I'll see you later with the album covers. Take care for now.